Heyo campers, it's Maddie, and today I'm going to show you how I make my favorite snack in the world, guacamole. This recipe is great for chips, or you could put it on a sandwich, or really any way that you like to eat guacamole is fine. The Accessible Chef recipe attached for this gives exact amounts to make guacamole, but you can adjust it to however your tastes are. That's what I'm going to do. So first we'll go over what we need for the recipe. So for ingredients, we need 2 ripe avocados. You can know they're ripe because the color of the outside will be dark and they'll also be a little bit squishy. You want them on the squishier side because it'll be easier to mash with your fork. We need a tomato, and it depends on your taste how much tomato you put in. I like more avocado than tomato in guacamole, so I'll just put a little bit in, but if you love tomato, you put a whole tomato in. We need onion, any kind of onion that you like is fine, red, white, green, whatever you like. And some lime or lemon juice, or you can have it, squeeze it right out of the lime or the lemon, that's the best way to do it. And garlic. I keep my garlic in a big jar, but if you need to cut up your own garlic, that's totally fine. For tools we will need, we're gonna need a cutting board, a knife or a chopper, a fork, a bowl, and a spoon. Like this. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is cut our avocados. So we're going to need a knife and a spoon for this step. Be very careful when you cut the avocados, especially if you're using a sharp knife, because sometimes you can accidentally slip with the knife and go through the pit, and we don't want that to happen. So I cut my avocado down the middle, and then I just twist and pop it open, and we can see both sides and the seed. I'm going to do that to this avocado too. So I'll cut it down the middle, very carefully, and then I just give it a little twist and I open it up, and there's our avocado. So now this is where we're going to need our spoon to scoop out the avocado pit. So I just gently put the spoon in around the outside of the pit and then lift it out. And I'm going to do the same on the other avocado. Just tuck the spoon in on the outside of the pit to loosen it out, and then pop it out with my spoon. And then I'm going to put these pits in the green bin. Next, we're going to use our spoon to scoop out the inside of the avocado into our bowl. So I'm just going to put the spoon against the skin of the avocado on the inside and scoop out the inside. So we have an empty little avocado skin shell and half an avocado. And I'll just pop that in my bowl and then put the skin in the green bin. And I'm going to do the same thing for each quarter of the avocado. Just pop it in. Careful, you might get the little top of the avocado coming off in it. We don't want to eat that, so we'll just pop it off to the side. Perfect. So I have 2 avocados in my bowl. The next thing I need to do is get a fork and mash the avocado into a more paste kind of consistency. If you have a potato masher, you could use that to do this. I just have a fork and I find it works fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and mash all of this avocado. Okay, so I finished mashing up my avocado. This is what it looks like. It's a little chunky still, but I like my guacamole that way. If you like your guacamole really smooth, you could even put the avocados in the blender. That's totally fine. The next thing we're going to do is cut our tomato. So like I said before, you can use as much or as little tomato as you like. It doesn't have to be exact. If this is your first time making guacamole and you want to follow the recipe exactly, that's totally fine too, and then just see how you like it. And then next time you can adjust it however you like. So I've got my tomato, I'm just gonna cut it into chunks. And I'm gonna make smaller chunks just because that's how I like my guacamole. I like it to have just little bites of tomato inside of it, but if you like big chunks of tomato, go for it. Make sure if you're not so comfortable with using a knife, you get an adult to help you with this step. And if you are using your knife, just be really careful. You don't want to accidentally clip your finger. So take your time cutting. Okay, so I finished cutting my tomato into small little pieces. Now I can put them in my bowl with my avocado and then stir that up well. I'm just going to use my clean hands to pop them in the bowl, and then I can stir them in with my fork that I was using earlier and get it all mixed together well. Now, the recipe also depends on how big your avocados are. I was using pretty small avocados, so if I used a whole tomato, then I would have way too much tomato. It would just be kind of salsa at that point. So just use your best judgment, whatever you think looks good. So now it's all mixed together with my tomatoes, and I can get my onion. I just like a little bit of onion. Otherwise I find, you know, the flavor's a bit too strong for me. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of onion. Maybe just about this much of my onion, and I like to cut my onion up really small so that I don't get big pieces of onion, but you can cut it as big or as little as you like. So first I just cut it into these thin strips very carefully. Then I go ahead and I line up these thin strips that I've cut, and I cut really teeny tiny pieces. And I'm very careful of my fingers while I hold this. I make sure that I move them when the knife gets too close, and I take my time. Perfect. So now I have all of these little onion pieces I've cut up. I can throw that in my bowl with my avocado and my tomato. So I'll just use my hands to pick it up off our cutting board and drop it into our bowl. Okay, so all of my onions in my bowl, and I'm just gonna stir that together well so that all of our onion and our tomato are mixed up well with our avocado. So there it is with the avocado and the tomato and the onion. Isn't that beautiful? I love how bright and green and red it is. It looks delicious. But we only have a few more steps before we're ready to eat. So the next thing I'm gonna do is add in some lime juice. You can use lemon juice too, and you can add however much you like. If you're someone who really likes the flavor of lime, add a ton. If you don't, add a few drops. The great thing about lime juice in this recipe too is it's not only flavor, but it helps keep your avocado green. Because when avocado is exposed to the air, it starts to turn brown. It's totally okay to eat brown avocado. It just looks a bit nicer when you have that nice bright green color, especially if you're serving this maybe for your friends or your family. You want it to stay green while everyone eats it. And it also adds a really delicious flavor. So I've mixed in my lime juice. I added about maybe 4 or 5 drops, not too much. And next thing I'm gonna do is add garlic. So again, this depends on how much garlic you like. If you really like the flavor of garlic, you can add a lot. If you don't, add a little. If you don't have pre-cut garlic, this is where you would cut your garlic, or you could use garlic powder if you find that easier. I'm gonna put in, I'd say this is about a small clove worth of garlic into my bowl. I'm gonna just put this away and mix that up well with my avocado and my onion and tomato. All right, that looks so yummy. The last thing we're gonna do is just add a little bit of salt and pepper, however much you like, just to your taste is perfect. So I really like pepper, so I'm gonna add quite a fair bit of pepper in here. And I find just a little bit of salt is enough for me. So I'll just add just a little bit and then mix that all together. All right, so this is our finished guacamole. All right, it's time for the taste test. My favorite way to eat guacamole is on tortilla chips. So I'm gonna scoop some of that up and see how it tastes. Delicious! If you try this recipe, send us a picture. I'd love to see how it turned out. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your Fiesta week. Bye!